What's good, guys? Welcome back to Ron's Rides. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video where I'm here at Maserati Alpha Male of St. Petersburg doing something I have never done before yet on the channel. Here we are, two Maserati Granturismos, 2024, 2017. And today we're gonna compare and contrast them, but in a different way. There's been videos out and I'm late to the game, but on all the specifics and all that kind of stuff technical. We're gonna get just very small on the technical aspect. Really, I want you guys to chime in. I'm providing this video as a platform for you guys to say old versus new. Which one do you guys prefer the best? What do you like more about the new one? What do you like more about the old one? So I'm going to put them side by side and you'll see them in a couple of aspects to where you can compare them, like the engine, the sound, the interior, technology, the exterior. And I want to see which one you guys like the best between the two. So with that said, let's try something new about the GTs. Let's do something different. Let's see which Maserati you like the best. Now here's the part where we ruffle some feathers. All right, so again, I'm not going to give you guys all the specifics on numbers because that is irrelevant. What I want to know is if you guys are taking the Ferrari-derived, naturally aspirated V8 engine that Maserati put in the old 2017 Granturismo, or are you taking the Maserati-made F1 technology twin turbo V6 Nettuno engine straight from in-house? Now we can say this on two aspects. One, the engine, which one do you like overall, just the engine itself? Two, the appearance, the visual aspects, the presentation under the hood of both. As you guys can see, this is the new one. As you guys can see, this is the old one. So, graded on two separate scales. Which one are you guys taking? And you can already know where I'm going with next on this one. I don't even have to say it. We're just gonna play it. So, this part is going to be pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to do what you think I'm going to do, and different strokes for different folks, but I think we're going to know where the differences are here. So when we break it all down here, let's start with the paint colors. This one has a pretty unique paint color for the name itself. This one obviously is a matte color. So let's talk about this one because they're both Grigio, which is gray in Italian, right? But this is Grigio Alfieri Metallic. Now that is a big name to put on a paint, as Alfieri was one of the founders of the Maserati brand and the family. So that is already some bragging rights to have that color on this specific spec. And then you have Grigio Maratea Matte. Obviously we've seen Grigio Maratea in the metallic flavor, but we have matte here on the Granturismos, so it gives off a different look there. Now, when it comes to paint, obviously that's subjective, and these are two different kind of paints. But as far as the looks here, just to start, you guys can see the sun's kind of going behind a cloud and it darkens up these paints a little bit. If you were to choose, this is just a bonus round, if you were to choose between the paints, because again, this is kind of irrelevant, how do you guys feel about the two grays? Would you take Alfieri or would you take Maratea? Now, there was a reason why I chose the specs and colors I chose. Well, one is because they were both available. Two, because I kind of wanted to mesh them up when it comes to the color and when it comes to the trim. Now, it's tough because the trims are completely different, but these aren't the highest spec trims or, you know, highest trim levels in their respective years. So in this year, the MC would be the top trim level, and this year, the Trofeo would be the top trim level. This is a 2017, this is a 2024. This is the body style before they changed over to the 2018, which they only did 1 year in a coupe, and they did another year in a convertible in 2019, and then they discontinued the Granturismo until they came out with this. So really, this was the body style that lasted the longest. I believe it was like when we started in 2007, we kind of got different iterations of this body style, moving all the way into 2017, which is the model you see here, to where the 2024 just came out. So this is the next generation Maserati DNA. Now, to say that Maserati didn't really change much and that the old GT looks exactly like the new GT or vice versa, you know, they say, hey, you guys redesigned the GT, but it looks the same. Well, Maserati or Alfa Romeo doesn't like to mix in their potions of things that, if they aren't broke, don't fix them. You know, they have a winning formula that they don't like to dabble in. And that winning formula is styling. And that styling carries over for the most part, but there are some aspects that we have to bring up. So, front fascia starting first. You guys can see what the similarities and the differences are, but I want to know, first looks, which one looks better? All right, so obviously the changes in the headlamps you'll see first, right off the way, by xenons versus full LED. We will talk about the Trident here, which is done with the red strike through, a little bit more 3D when it comes to the flavor, to where we have the big plastic Trident there with more of a cartoonish look. One has level 2 ADAS technology stuffed in, the other one doesn't. Okay, then we'll talk about the side profile, where we have the honeycomb grille here, all right, and the very sharp lines to connect to the front part of the bumper, to where here we have the honeycomb grille as well, but with a slat on the side and then more rounded lines to connect to the center. Now, this front bumper is done in a couple of parts, where the grille is very wide, the slats are very thin, and the pieces connect together. There's no flowy lines. It's a little bit more aggressive and it's sharper lines. Okay? On the front here is very flowy lines. Less vertical slats, thicker vertical slats that are fed through there. And then the black front lip just goes from one side to the next. It doesn't connect to this grille here. So it just flows like water from one side to the next. So then you put that into consideration when you look at both models, and then you ask yourself, which one do you like best as far as this front end goes? Now we got to talk about the hoods, because the hood is an essential part of the Maserati models. I feel like they've styled their hoods very well over the years. And obviously the Trofeo, or sorry, not Trofeo, the MC version of this has a more aggressive hood. But we're not talking about that. And the reason why I even bring it up is because the Trofeo version, which is the top trim spec of this model, has the same exact hood. So this one, you got a different styling. This one, they're both the same. So this one, you can see the flowy lines from the front of the hood there, going all the way up and sprawling out and then coming in, to where this hood here is actually a little bit more functional, as these indentations here have grills in them, which is obviously for cooling. Actually, these might be for cooling or airflow. I mean, I feel like airflow because it shoots right up, right? Makes sense, but it's a little bit more contoured when it comes to the overall design. But this one is a little bit more flowy for the overall design. So again, the hoods are something to kind of take into consideration. Now let's talk about the side profile of both of these models, because again, guys, they're looking very, very similar between the two. You can definitely tell that they have a type when Maserati designed the GT and kept it the same way as far as really the overall shape. So the big differences here on the side, it's really hard to tell. The biggest things you're gonna notice here today is on the older GT, the door handles are obviously different because they're actual like physical protruding handles, okay? So you will see that there, that's an actual handle, versus the indentation is kind of a hidden handle on this GT. All right. Then we talk about the front fender. The front fender, again, on this aspect here, it's a little different because on the MC for the old one, it's a lot different. But you can see that very smooth and, you know, again, just curvaceous and flowy. We have the actual trim level here, which is the Modena. We also have the portholes there that are active, all right? Now, active, I mean functional, okay? Now, the portholes, they took from the classic Maseratis because that's always been a staple for the Maserati brand. And again, this one's very flowy, but in the MC version, it is not. But then the portholes are a lot bigger, a lot lower, if you guys can tell, a lot lower. And then we have our turn signal here versus having it in the mirror cap like on that model. So we have this flashing in amber when the turn signal is on. And then Pininfarina. It's not the trim level, that is the design. That is by Pininfarina himself stamping his name on the design of this car. The side skirt, again with this, is very flowy. The lines just all really integrate with each other and you don't see any kind of breaking in the actual design. There's no breakage to where things stop and then start another direction. It flows all the way through in the new GT versus the old GT. It's a little bit more sporty and aggressive because of the fact that it has those braking lines and those sharper angles. Like when it comes to the side skirt here, you guys can see the side skirt has an indentation and it kind of protrudes out to give it a 3D effect on the side of the car. That is basically the biggest thing that I'm seeing when it comes to the side profile. Obviously the mirrors are a little different, and again, the turn signal in it. The wheels, you can't really, I mean, there's different options and stuff in the wheels, but that doesn't really go for the overall design of the car itself. But yeah, coming along the side of these, take a look. Which one do you prefer between the two? Now the C-pillar and rear quarter here look basically the same, guys. Fuel door looks the same, exact same place. Trident on the new version is just done in this newer style, done in black, to where the old version done in this older style with the strike through, red going through because Granturismo had that. But this whole section is exactly the same when it comes to first looks. I mean, obviously I don't know the exact specs and everything, you know, and the measurements, but that looks completely the same. The window, obviously on the OGT, the rear window is a little bit bigger than the partition here, which is a little bit smaller. So that sloping roof line may come into play a little bit more on the OGT versus the new one. But looking at this at all angles, it's pretty similar. Now let's compare the rear. All right, so they're very similar in a sense, but they're very different. You guys can see a couple things that stand out right away, and it's gonna be at the top. So where they're the same, really, it's obviously the script with the strike through. Obviously this is a little bit fatter, all right, a little bit fatter, and in chrome, to where we slimmed down a little bit and we took our shine down a little bit and made this slimmer in aluminum here with the Maserati script. But you can see that it stretches a little bit further when it comes to length here, okay? But there's a reason. It's because the tail lamps. Now the tail lamps look like Spider-Man's eyes. I'm just gonna say it. The mask on Spider-Man's eyes look like these tail lamps. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's how I compare them. These are a slim kind of like Tron, very technical, like technology, futuristic kind of thing when it comes to these tails. So slimmer Tron and then bigger Spider-Man eyeballs. All right, so that's how I'm comparing them today, guys. I told you this wasn't gonna be technical. All right, now, when we talk about anything else underneath that, well, we have the Granturismo badge on this one here, to where no branding on this one. Obviously, a lot of people knew that this was the Granturismo. Maserati didn't have too many models out compared to today, where they have about 7 of them. You know, when it comes between, what is it? I'm going to guess this. MC20, Gridcale, Granturismo, Levante, Ghibli, Quattroporte. So 6. And I think I got them all. Yeah, but 6 models. So the badging helps to where everybody knew that this was the Granturismo. No badging there. Now, when it comes to the rest of the car here, you will see that the rear diffuser and everything like that, they had the same idea in mind. Now, again, the MC, I had to bring it up, a lot more aggressive, looks completely different, but the same as goes for the Trofeo, very aggressive, looks very different. Here, you'll notice that the exhaust tips are horizontal and they're dual exhaust, to where here, they are circular and they're quad exhaust. So you have 4 pipes here and you have 2 pipes here. Now, when you get into the inners of that, you can see it's almost the same of that 4-pipe layout there. But as far as the visual goes, you can see that that is a dual setup horizontally. The rear diffuser here is very simple and plain, all right, plain Jane, and very flowy lines across the exhaust. Very flowy lines across the exhaust and going through the rear bumper here, but the diffuser has a little bit of a stylistic element, some grooves to it, and it's also in gloss black compared to that being plastic. So basically the rears are going to be the same for the most part, guys. I mean, it's hard to really differentiate them. I can't say that word, you know what I'm trying to say. They really look almost the same, given the headlights or taillights are just a little bit different in exhaust pipes, but that's about it. Now, when it comes to interior, obviously options and materials and all that stuff with colorways and all that, that is going to be different for each model year, even in the same model year. But it's good to see where you come from to know where you're going or where you have gone in the case of the new GT. So I want to show you guys the old GT, because this one was one where it was a love-hate relationship for a lot of people, because at the time it was doing its thing. But this went without a restyling for the longest time, and 2018 is when we really start seeing anything change, and it was really only for 2 years, because 2018, 2019, we had that body style, that interior change, and then we moved on to what you see in the 2024s. The big thing for 2018 is the reason why things changed is because it was a forced issue, because we needed a reverse camera, because it was regulated in 2018 that all new cars had to have a reverse camera screen or a reverse camera and a screen to have a backup camera there. So Maserati took FCA's latest technology screen, put it there, changed a couple of buttons there, and then called it a day when that center console came out. But really, this is what you were used to for the previous generation GTs. And this was not a bad look. Again, this was a classic look, and it was really, in its time, it was a great interior. And obviously technology and all that stuff changes, and when it comes to Italians, they have very characteristic, you know, very kind of, I don't want to say quirky because I don't want to say Doug DeMuro stuff, but you know, they had that kind of, you know, interior and fit and finish to where this definitely felt really Italian. Now I wanted to just sit inside to give you a quick look. Obviously Bose for the sound system, gloss black, leather and red, and then leather all throughout the steering wheel. As you guys can see, we actually had analog gauges done in blue, the clock analog, this screen, something else. This just ages me. That, yeah, their phone with the actual numbers to press, and yep. And then normal stuff you see like in today's cars, sport and park and ice and traction. So your drive selectors there and your gear selector here, cup holders. The radio and HVAC controls are down here. Sorry, not the radio. The HVAC controls are down here. And then the dash done in gloss black, leather, Rosso on the glove box section here, and Granturismo Sport. And again, seeing it all together with these sports seats, I want to say that these seats are almost the same on the new GT. We'll go check that out now, but just giving you a POV of what's old. Oh, and I guess we can't neglect seeing everything on, right? So we'll put in this old school flip up key and bring that bad boy to life. A lot of beeping in this thing. If you guys have known these cars, there's always a lot of beeping. But yeah, this is what everything looked like on and functional and ready to go. So are you guys liking the interior of the old GT, or we're gonna have to go over to the new GT and maybe kind of switch it up and change your mind? Now, coming to the 2024, you can see where it took a major turn, It made up for a lifetime of updates in just those 4 years that we were gone with the Granturismo. Came back a completely different person. Came back like when you come out of the barbershop with a fresh haircut, you feel like a whole new person. That's what this is right here. This is your fresh fade at the barber for the interior here. It's just, excuse my metaphors. Let's just hop in and we'll do this real time for you guys because this looks different. This is completely, I mean, you see where the learning curve is from someone who is a old GT owner and they upgraded into the new GT. Well, you can see where they would get in and be like, what is this spaceship? What is going on? Now we're gonna do like the other one and close the door. All right. And then we're going to start her up because we gotta see what all of this looks like. So we'll put on a break there, press mute real quick because we don't want no, whoops, sorry. There we go, press mute real quick. No copyright here. But yeah, we didn't use a key fob. We pressed it here on the steering wheel. And yeah, this is major when it comes to an upgrade between the two. Now, again, there's no clear winner because some people might like the old Italian style versus the new modern day Stellantis style that you're seeing in here. The old Italian style with the sounds and the quirky buttons and, you know, the whole thing, the whole shebang versus the modernized version of the GT. You know, some people might like that one better than this one, but it's my duty to show them both off in the same light and see what you guys think. Now, I did mention Bose in the old one. Sonos Faber is the sound system in this one. I said the seats look very similar. They do. They kind of mimic the old GT when it comes to the seating. You know, even though that piece under the headrest. But again, this is undeniably an upgrade. Is it better though? Is it better as far as how you feel about it? Again, very subjective. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Everybody has their own taste and opinion. And I'm here to hear yours. Which interior do you like the best? So, did you guys come up with an answer? Is this an easy answer or a tough answer for you guys to kind of comment on down in the comments below? Like, was this hard for you to kind of say which one you like the best between the two? Because I know I'm struggling with certain aspects, okay? This is tough. But either way, they're both great cars in their own retrospect. So that's really the big thing there. Their own way, they excel in their own way. So it's hard to really say, you know, and it's all opinion based. But with that said, I just kind of want to show it off to you guys and see what you thought. So if you did enjoy the video today, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you guys check the link in the description. Both of these cars are for sale at Maserati Alfa Romeo of St. Pete. And with that said, make sure you guys subscribe, but click the notification bell so you don't miss one video. And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.